It's Monday, July 24th, 2023. A lot to talk about today. And I'm going to start with this. I'm going to get right into this video today. Is everything manipulated? Comment down below. I would love to know your thoughts on this. Is everything manipulated? I think about, for instance, the church today. How manipulated are the churches in America who absolutely stand by and do absolutely nothing? I don't see them on the streets. I don't see them waking people up. I don't see them warning people. They are nothing but a bunch of 501c3 corporations now passing the offering plate, getting wealthier and wealthier while people starve. They starve for knowledge. They starve for the truth. They starve for their eternal life. And the church stands by and does absolutely nothing. The church is so manipulated. They act like they're doing something. They tell people what they want to hear, but they are misleading people. And this is a world of manipulation going on now. We can look at the stock market today. I believe everything was up. But we are watching another massive melt up in these markets based on absolutely nothing. Is your life getting better? Are you saving more money? Is your standard of living improving? Has your savings account gone up? Has your net worth gone up? Some people, yes, but for the majority of Americans, it is getting much worse. And 70% of this country says that they're in financial trouble. 42% of this country doesn't even have $400 saved up. So we hear this manipulation daily. Look at the stock market. Everything is going up. We hear from the analysts, the economists, the TV hosts wearing the $3,000 suits that everything is good. Go out, spend, go out, buy a house, charge everything, run up the credit cards. Everything's going to be okay. You just need to be involved in this economy, buying stuff and supporting it. Again, a complete manipulation, where you should be doing the opposite right now, being defensive, saving money, paying off debt. I look at social media and how much of social media is so manipulated. People don't even look like their pictures. It's shocking if you saw these people in real life, what they really look like. But now everybody puts a filter on. I promise you, as scary as I may look, there's no filter on this camera. What you see is what you get. But I know a lot of people on social media, and I look at them on social media and I go, man, there's no way. I mean, they don't look like this in real life. I mean, it's incredible. So we live in a time now where we don't know what's real, what's fake, who's telling the truth, who's lying. And we are living in a world of complete manipulation right now, from the church to the markets to social media. And you have to be careful, ladies and gentlemen, because you have to think about where the information is coming from. When they tell you this is a great time to buy a house, like the Dave Ramseys out there, this is a great time to buy a house. I promise you, it is not a great time to buy a house. You will regret it. This is the worst time to buy a house or to make a big ticket purchase right now. And these people who are heavily invested in real estate want everybody to keep buying real estate, just like all the crypto people out there that wanted you to keep buying crypto, because if you bought more, they made more. And so it's the same thing in real estate. People that are heavily invested in real estate need the real estate market to stay propped up. People who are heavily invested in the stock market need retail investors to come in and keep buying into these markets, buying the dips. And these people are getting bamboozled, in my opinion. This is a melt-up, ladies and gentlemen, that is based on nothing. The economy is in shambles. We have no leadership. The dollar is under continued pressure. We are witnessing the biggest bubble that is about to burst in commercial real estate, another massive bubble in housing that is going to burst, and we're going to see this massive stock market bubble that has been completely propped up with artificial injections, a lot of FOMO, based on no reality, based nothing on more helicopter money, trillions and trillions of dollars of printed money, and more people telling you you should just buy into this thing, although the economy has collapsed and is in shambles. So beware of the manipulation out there. We just can't seem to get the truth. We can't seem to get the real numbers. How many cars are being repoed per day now? Is it 20,000, 15,000, 25,000? Nobody even really knows. How many people are really working 2 to 3 jobs? They say around 50% of people who are working right now are working 2 to 3 jobs. I think the number is much higher than that. They're saying, 60 to 70% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. I think it's much higher than that. What's the real price of a home today? What is the real number? How about the real price of commercial real estate? Nobody really knows, but we're going to find out, because sooner or later these markets will crash and the truth will come out. And they need to crash so that we know what the price of these assets really are. How many people in America are really homeless? We don't really know anything, because, we don't know the real number of inflation. Is it really 3%? Do you believe it's 3%? You know it's not 3%. What's the real number? How many people are really unemployed in America? We don't really know any of these numbers. Wall Street Journal, FDIC scolds banks for manipulating deposit data. Today, the FDIC sending warning to U.S. banks not to take liberties with their deposit numbers. And you have to ask yourself, ladies and gentlemen, is your money safe in these banks? And here again, more manipulation. Banks are manipulating markets. They're manipulating gold and silver prices. They've manipulated the housing prices. Many banks have changed their numbers, it says, by including an unusual type of account in the category of deposits insured by the FDIC, which typically insures deposits up to $250,000. These accounts, often from government entities, generally exceed that amount, but the banks have collateral behind them guaranteeing the deposits. The FDIC said only deposits that it insured could be called insured deposits. The existence of collateral has no bearing on the portion of a deposit that is covered by the FDIC. So now you have to ask, is your money safe? Is your money covered? And here we go again with more of this manipulation by banks. It's unbelievable what the banks are doing, and they're jeopardizing so many of their depositors by rigging the numbers, manipulating the markets, manipulating the data. So be cautious about where your money is, who's watching it, and are you going to be able to get it out when you need it? That's why I think you should be your own bank and have the least amount of money, enough to pay the bills, in your bank. That's it. If you want to really defeat the system, then why are you in the system? People will say, well, keep your money in 3 banks, 5 banks, scattered. Well, then you're in the system 3 different ways, 5 different ways. You should be dependent on you. You should be your own bank. And when people begin to realize that you're actually taking the power away when you're buying some gold, buying some silver, pulling those cash dollars out of the bank and holding physical cash, physical gold, and physical silver yourself, you are taking the power away from them and putting it into your own hands. So I don't get why people are so dependent on banks. Do we need them? Yes, of course. But should you have every cent of your money in the system? I don't think you should. And that's not financial advice. That's how I'm thinking. That's how I'm living. That's how people in my circle are living also. The hedge today. Nobody understands where the bottom is for commercial real estate. I don't think that things are as stable as people think that they are. I don't think things are as good as people may think that they are. People still think that we're going back to normal. People think that inflation is somehow going to disappear when we are printing trillions upon trillions of dollars. We're sending billions over to other countries, tens of billions. We've raised the debt ceiling. We injected $7 trillion into the economy over 30 months. And we're going to continue to print money. How in the world does anybody who can add 2 plus 2 believe that inflation is just going to disappear? We have a Category 5 hurricane on the way, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you're preparing for it. I know some people might laugh at that. Some people might ridicule me for that. And some people might say, I've been talking about this for 3 years or 4 years, 5 years. Because I saw the writing on the wall many, many years ago. And I will tell you, 5 years ago to where we're at today is night and day. Look at how far we have fallen as a nation, as an economy, as a people, morality, how far we've fallen in the past 4 or 5 years. Do you really think it's better than it was 4 or 5 years ago? And you could see 4 or 5 years ago where this was all going. We have a massive debt maturity wall of commercial real estate loans that total $500 billion in 2024, $2.5 trillion over the next 5 years. We are going to see an absolute collapse in commercial real estate. This is going to have a massive impact on regional banks, and this is very scary too. We're going to lose a lot of regional banks over the next 5 years. And you know, that big 4, 5, 7 banks, they're going to get stronger, more powerful, because that smaller bank is going to continue to just be absorbed, taken over. We're going to see, I mean, think about what we're going to see. We're going to see a lot of banks close. We're going to see a massive amount of commercial real estate go into foreclosure. And I don't think that people realize what the true price of these, or the true price of these assets is going to be when they go to foreclosure. When you look at, say, a $200 million building, what's it going to sell for? 50? Could it sell for 30? Could it sell for 20? And who's going to buy all this vacant commercial real estate? What are you going to do with it? A lot of people will say, well, turn it into housing. Very, very expensive to turn office buildings into livable housing. Very expensive. So who's going to buy it? Is it going to be China? Possible. But nobody's going to buy this stuff unless it's on a fire sale. And that's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to continue to see, we're seeing buildings already selling 50, 60, 80% off. Multi-million-dollar properties selling up to 80% off already. We're going to see values drop to unbelievable numbers, in my opinion. Now, you have to think about this. What about the revenue now that was generated by these commercial buildings, these big hotels, these big office buildings, these giant shopping malls? Where's the tax revenue going to come from? People go, well, I don't care. Who's going to pay for your police? Who's going to pay for your trash pickup? Who's going to pay your firemen? Who's going to pay for your teachers? Who's going to pay for all this when you have these hundreds of millions of dollar buildings disappear, go into foreclosure and sit vacant? I don't know where this is all going to go, but I don't think it's going to go to a very, very good place. But you're going to see revenue in cities go just absolutely plunge, because these buildings are, the price of these buildings, these assets, it's going to plunge. And I don't know if somebody buys, say you sell a $100 million building for $20 million. What do you do with it? What do you do with it? And is there a buyer? Is it worth $20 million when nobody's going to the office and we're going to continue to lose more jobs? Another one today, a traumatic fight for survival, the demise of San Francisco. You should be concerned, America. And I say that because San Francisco is coming to your city. You look at San Francisco, a cultural capital, then it became a tech capital, then it became the fentanyl capital. San Francisco is coming to a town near you. You got people in San Francisco going hand to hand fighting burglars. You got people being assaulted. You got people being hit in the head with baseball bats. You got a fentanyl epidemic, assault, murder, burglaries, theft, car windows broken literally every minute in broad daylight. Broad daylight, people just breaking car windows and going through cars, taking whatever they can. And we're seeing more of this happening outside of San Francisco and many, many other cities, big and small. And we're going to see more of it hitting suburban America. And I hope you're preparing for that. Nobody's immune from this, ladies and gentlemen, but you can't just sit here and go, well, I'll just be a victim. You know, make sure you have security. Make sure that you have a plan. Make sure you know what to do if somebody breaks, you know, that barrier, your front door or your window, and gets in your house. What would you do? You have to think about these things. I know they're scary. I know it's uncomfortable, but these are things we need to be sitting down at the dinner table and talking to our family members about. What if this happened? What if that happened? What would we do? And people go, that's scary. I don't want to talk about that. That's negative. That's doom and gloom. I'm just going to think positive. Teddy bears, rainbows, and puffy white clouds, and it'll never happen to me. If you think like that, that's a bad strategy, ladies and gentlemen. That's a bad strategy. Always have a plan. Have a plan financially, have a plan physically about your security. Because if you don't, I think you will regret it if something ever were to happen. And we are seeing now the percentages of that happening more and more every day in this country. Millennials and Gen Zers can't afford to buy a home no matter how much they save. So what are they doing? They're buying Taylor Swift tickets. I think personally, this is just me. Maybe you love her. I think her music's completely overpriced. I think her music is nothing but self-pity. I think that America really needs to think about, before going to a Taylor Swift concert, think about where your money's going, where your time's going, and where your brain cells are going. This is the problem in America now. People have no money saved up. They're loaded with credit card debt. They have no savings. They don't have an ounce of silver, an ounce of gold. They have no skill sets. They have nothing, but they will go and spend hundreds of dollars at a Taylor Swift concert and probably grab a $10 latte at Starbucks on the way. This is a problem. And these are the people that always complain they have no money, they can't prepare, they have no assets, but yet they're on social media showing us that they're at the Taylor Swift concert drinking a latte. I don't feel sorry for these people. Again, if you want to just burn up your brain cells, burn up your money, burn up your time, have at it. But think about what you could do with that money. How you could begin today to start planning what a couple $100s would do right now just for your food reserves. You know, listening to, I'm not a fan of her music. I don't really listen to it, but what I have heard of it, it's very depressing. It's music of really about self-pity. And that's another problem too. People listen to this music, they're influenced by this music, self-pity, another broken relationship, feel sorry for me, I'm down and out. Ladies and gentlemen, she's worth hundreds of millions of dollars because she can, you know, bamboozle people into paying to go to those concerts and buy her self-pity music. Take some time and get positive. And you know what? Probably one of the best things people could do is work out. Most people feel bad about themselves because they're in bad physical condition. Many people are overweight, they're eating bad, they feel bad, they're on pharmaceuticals, they have a lot of addictions. And I think one of the best things to fix that is get off the couch, get working out, get to a gym, start picking up some weights, get to jiu-jitsu, start rolling on the mat, and start getting the blood pumping. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Stop being one of these people that has absolutely nothing because you're spending your money at Starbucks and concerts. Start pushing weight, start getting in shape, and start paying off the debts. I just cannot believe people support this. It's just really unbelievable. This is why people are so weak-minded. You know, they just need somebody to listen to. They need somebody to follow. Start following God, start listening to yourself, and start doing something. These people know nothing more than you do. In fact, you know a lot more than these people do. These people are, they're just so misleading. They really, really are. And look, it's a free world. Everybody has free will. If you want to spend $500 or $5,000 at a Taylor Swift concert, have at it. But I think you're wasting your time. Here's another one. I'll finish with this one. Barbie's record-setting $155 million box office debut. Again, this to me is another waste of money. And what's really pathetic here is looking at these 40 and 50-year-old women dressing up as Barbie and going to the Barbie movie. And, you know, we wonder why the household is breaking down. We wonder why the morality of this country is breaking down. We wonder why kids have so many problems. We wonder why there's so much violence in the cities, because it all comes from the home. Parents aren't there. And then you have parents, grown adults, 40, 50, 60 years old, dressing up like Barbie, or maybe they're at Comic-Con dressing up like a comic book character. Even better yet. This is where we're at. So we are heading into one of the worst global depressions history has ever seen. And people are dressing up like dolls. They're dressing up like cartoon characters and spending $155 million to watch this garbage. Do I need to say any more? Have a wonderful day. God bless every one of you. This country is in big, big trouble.